trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Thanks so much for joining. Do you want to start by introducing yourself, who you are, where you're from, etc.?
Yeah, my name's Ozita. I live just outside Liverpool in Runcorn, and I'm 34 years old. And I have had long-standing issues with what has now turned out to be SIBO since I was 18, probably a bit before that, 17. And that's led to a whole host of other chronic problems that I'm dealing with. So that's the bit about me.
Okay, cool.
And I'm vegan.
Most importantly.
Yeah.
Do you want to give everyone, you obviously touched upon it there, do you want to give everyone a snapshot of your main health problems, how long they've been going on, and potentially what you think may have triggered them in the first place?
Yeah. When I was 18, I was put on a really long course of antibiotics for my acne. So I was put on, I think it was tetracycline.
Okay.
Are they the ones?
Yeah, tetracyclines.
Yeah,
like
that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was put on tetracycline, but obviously it's only now that I realise it's unusual that I just kept getting repeat prescriptions for it. And this was like over a year. And then when that didn't work, and I started becoming sort of resistant to it, they'd put me on another antibiotic. So my entire teenage years were mostly being put on one antibiotic to another antibiotic to another one. And yeah, it was around 18 that I started experiencing really, really bad bloat with anything that I was eating. And then I started getting really bad sort of like bladder problems. And when I say that, I mean like symptoms of cystitis. So feeling like I need to pass urine, but I can't, and it only trickles out. And then after I've been feeling like I need to go and pee again, but nothing really comes out. So like a feeling of fullness, but there's nothing there to pass.
Okay.
And pain in my bladder, particularly when I'm lying down, which I still have an issue with, which doctors still can't explain. I got diagnosed as having interstitial cystitis. And then they said it was Fowler syndrome. Then they said it was a type of painful bladder syndrome. And then only last year, they finally just decided, yeah, we don't know what's wrong with you. We've tried everything, and it's just a regional pain syndrome, which I think is code for we don't know what's wrong with you.
Okay, so by the sound of it, it sounds like you were caught up in that quagmire of kind of doctor to consultant, and not really getting on kind of anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So back in, I think it was February, March time, you took the organic acids test, the stool test, and SIBO test, which obviously detected a number of different problems. So you had methane dominant SIBO, some parasite issues, some candida issues, and a number of different issues. So in amongst all of that and the different symptoms that you've been experiencing, what type of food reactions were you having from all of that?
Oh my God, like it was just honestly anything that I was eating, I was bloating. And so it was really frustrating because everyone kept saying, well, you need to do the elimination diet. I was like, well, if I do that, I'm going to have to just eat air because everything that I was eating was just making me bloat.
That's a new vegan diet, apparently.
Yeah, I oh, savage. But yeah, it's true. Honestly, at that point, I was like, you know what, I might as well just fucking stop eating, because it was just awful. It was just horrible. So I just had to get used to the fact that I was just constantly bloated. And I mean, I'll try and find a picture and send it to you later. But I literally looked pregnant all the time. It was really distended. Okay. It wasn't like water weight. It was really like a pregnant belly. And it just felt really uncomfortable all the time. Okay. So, sorry, my dog's eating something that she shouldn't. Can you get off that, mate? So yeah, that's the point that it got to, that no matter what, and I did actually think that this isn't the reason I went vegan. I went vegan for the animals, but I did think that going vegan would resolve or help with the symptoms, but just the same, wasn't any different. I didn't experience it being worse because I was eating more fibrous foods. It was just the same.
Okay. In amongst all of that bloating and stuff, what was your kind of doctor's take on it?
Oh, right. So my doctor just kept saying it's IBS, and just kept telling me to, just like fobbing me off and telling me to go do the elimination diet, or is it the FODMAP? Oh, and to look into food combining. And I've done all of that. I did all of that, and it just didn't really make a difference. I think I definitely made it worse, to be fair, because I do have a serious sugar addiction, and I have an addiction to bread. So I don't think that made things better. But when I did eliminate them out of my diet, it didn't really get rid of the bloat.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can certainly jump into the dietary side in a second. But obviously, once we got those test results back, we put you on a plan of avoiding gluten, sugar, processed, refined foods. There was a period of kind of boosting your immune system and clearing out that SIBO infection. So do you want to talk everyone through very quickly the plan, what you liked about it, what you disliked, and when you started noticing kind of improvements from that?
So the plan was pretty easy. The only hard thing about it was that I had to quit sugar. I kept messaging you saying, "Oh, can I eat this?" or "Can I eat this?" Like, no. That was the only hard part. It kind of forced me into eating a genuinely healthy whole foods plant-based diet, which I'm actually really grateful for. And it sort of made me a bit more conscious about what I was cooking and eating. It wasn't hard with regards to the supplements. That wasn't difficult. I just had to take I can't remember the names of everything. Do you want me to go get them?
No, it's fine. I mean, I can flag those up on screen
Cool.
afterwards just to give you.
Right. So I just had to put a powder in a glass of water, drink that up, and take some supplements right before 30 minutes before eating, and drink some apple cider vinegar a little bit before food, which I actually still do. That was it. It wasn't complicated. The only hard part was getting used to eating healthy, because we're just all so addicted, aren't we, to like foods that just give us instant gratification, like this hit.
Yeah.
Well, for me anyway.
Exactly. When do you think then? I think the total process was what, 8-10 weeks or so. How long into that process did you start to notice kind of sort of any changes, and what were
it was towards the sorry what were
yeah no I was just saying, what were the first kind of symptoms that you noticed which started to kind of dissipate?
It all just started coming together right at the end. That's what I noticed. It was gradual, but it just gradually started getting better and better and better. But it was right at the end. I mean, even my partner said, like, right at the end, it was just like all the weight just went because I lost a stone.
Okay.
Because I had an extra stone of weight on me that was just unhealthy. I've never been fat, but it was just excess weight that I didn't need from eating. When I say eating crap, I just want to make this clear. I didn't always eat processed foods. I wasn't one of these really highly processed food eating people, like vegan people. I just was probably eating a little bit too much sugar and a little bit too much chocolate here and there. But in general, I wasn't eating terribly. But I started noticing a big change right towards the end. Yeah, that's when everything just started clicking and coming together.
Okay. And in terms of dietary modifications and changes now, what foods are you eating now? What foods are you avoiding, just so people can get an idea?
I've avoided bread, and I'm never going to go back to eating bread again. And I don't drink tea anymore, because I was drinking about 8 cups of tea with a teaspoon of sugar in it. So I don't drink. I know. I know. You know, because it's just tea and it just doesn't look bad. You kind of almost lull yourself into this false sense of like, but it's not that bad. But it is. It's just liquid sugar.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I literally just said 2 minutes ago my diet wasn't that bad. So yeah, I don't drink the tea. I don't eat the bread anymore. I stay away from. I just don't eat any like processed food anymore. I keep things simple. I just like to have my rice, my beans, my vegetables. I probably should eat a little bit more fruit, but I do eat enough. I just keep it simple and I just keep it plain. For me, that's what works best. Like, I still find it delicious. I still put seasoning on it and everything, but I just, yeah, that's what works best for me, and I'm enjoying it. And I do have every now and again, like, actually, I have nearly every day, half a bar of dark chocolate. That kind of keeps like the sugar cravings at bay, but it's not overdoing it.
Yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, dark chocolate's got lots of magnesium, potassium, iron, and things like that. So, as my
Right.
wife always tells me, like, it's absolutely good for me, so I can eat as much of it as I want. So it's
Don't
all
say
good
that to
for me.
me. But yeah, that's and the interesting thing is that I used to think it was the sugar that was like causing me to like have all these terrible. I'm not saying sugar's processed refined sugar is good for you, but I think it was really like the bread and the processed food that was really messing me up. Because now if I have a bit of dark chocolate, I don't get any bloating
Okay.
at all. So
So,
I'm just got a flat tummy all the time. I can't believe it.
so if we talk about the SIBO then directly, so obviously stomach's gone down from the bloating and stuff.
Mm.
But that aside, did you notice any improvements around that with things like fatigue, energy levels, brain fog, and things like that?
I did used to suffer really bad from brain fog. I mean, to the point that I had to quit my driving lessons twice. That doesn't really seem to be a massive issue, actually, at all. And the only thing with regards to feeling fatigued, I obviously still have an issue with that because I'm having an issue with my bladder still, because it's still causing me pain when I'm lying down, which is interfering with my sleep.
Yeah.
But it's not as painful as it was before. I had to sort of check in with my partner because I forget sometimes, but he did say like it was much, much worse. And it always got worse when my bloat was really bad, when my bloat got triggered. And he's told me, but it's a lot better. That I'm functioning a lot better.
Okay. And the bladder pains, just talk through those because I know we've discussed that previously, and it's something we're going to look to address next. Now we've kind of resolved the SIBO issue. Where do you think that's originated from?
I honestly think it's originated from the antibiotics that's fucked up my gut, that's led to the SIBO, and I think that has led to my bladder issues. I think it's all come from that.
Okay.
Because everything that I've read around women that have interstitial cystitis and painful bladder syndrome, the studies that I've read, most of them say that these women all have coinciding IBS. One study did mention the name SIBO, but what doctors can't seem to connect is why women have the two things together.
Okay.
And it's like, it's the SIBO.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's something we obviously we'll have some additional conversations around just to see what can be done about that. But
Yeah.
It's often very complex when you've taken antibiotics. You've got degradation of gut flora and things like that. It's often difficult to get everything pieced back together and moving in the right direction. So it's probably going to take a little bit longer to kind of resolve that where possible. So I suppose, obviously things are moving in the right direction. The gas and bloating's gone, which is great. There's a few other kind of smaller issues that we need to resolve. But I suppose kind of last question, what's your take on a lot of these ex-vegans? Without you don't have to bite your tongue too much, but in a family,
yeah, but don't go like
in a family friendly environment.
Yeah, all my friends out there will be like, don't use the F-bomb. What's my thought on it? Right, this is the thing that this is what I don't understand. Never once did I ever think, when I was dealing with these issues with my gut and the SIBO, never once, I think anyone that is rational and intelligent will know that eating animal products that are linked to all our biggest killers, how on earth does anyone think that's going to resolve gut issues? I just don't understand. I understand that some people, it eating the high fibrous foods and all that does make it more, aggravates the whole situation, but I just don't understand where they go from thinking, where they go to thinking that eating animal products is going to resolve that. That's sorry, I'm like, I'm sort, let me try and, I've not answered that very well, have I?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head in that the carnivore diet, and I've said this repeatedly on this channel, but it's nothing more than an effective elimination diet. You were just taking away the problematic foods initially to kind of help reduce problems, but then you get backed in a corner, your food sensitivities, food reactions increase. So you typically see with people like Tim Sheaf and some of those other ex-vegans, they get backed into a corner, such as particularly vegetable feeds, where it's very difficult to then start transitioning back to plant-based food after that, because your body is highly sensitive and reactive to those different foods. So I see the carnivore diet as nothing more than a temporary elimination diet at best.
It's a ticking time bomb waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the other thing, it sort of makes me think, it's a bit like someone handing you over some cocaine saying, here you go, that's going to resolve your depression. Yeah, it's probably going to make you feel better for a bit, and if you keep taking it, it's going to make you feel better for a while, but in the end, it's not resolving anything. It's just going to completely mess you up. Never once did I ever think, going through what I was going through, meat and dairy are going to resolve all of my issues.
Okay. And what's your take on, obviously I'm not even remotely anti-medicine or anything like that. I know you obviously trained to be a pharmacist before, so you've got that sort of background in chemistry and medicines and stuff like that. So what's your take on kind of people who start looking outside that paradigm and start looking at kind of SIBO testing and things like that? Because obviously
I think it's great.
Medicine clearly works for a lot of people, and it's essential in society, and it helps and saves lives, but equally for a lot of people it doesn't work and it's harmful in some occasions. So just your take on all of that.
The way the healthcare system, to me, the way I'm looking at it, the way it's set up, we are taught to push medicines onto people that for chronic illnesses that are caused by diet. It's really that simple. As a pharmacist, if you ask any pharmacist, they'll tell you their entire day is spent out pushing out drugs for high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis. Very rarely are you giving out medications for other ailments like epilepsy, where there's a need for medicine for things like this. But we are literally just taught, in my opinion, to keep sick people sick. There's a lot of misinformation, how we're trained to tell people to eat. The Mediterranean diet being a really good example. It's just full of oil, full of fish. We're taught that that's the healthy way to go. Taught to teach people with diabetes to stop eating fruit, to remove all carbs from their diet. These people never get better. We just keep them sick for longer. I think there is a place for medicine for some ailments, but not for things like diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. That really is to do with diet.
Okay.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's slightly ironic, and like I said before, I'm not going to sit here and bash doctors because they do an amazing job at times, but when a lot of our diseases today are resultant from poor diet and lifestyle, it doesn't make sense that doctors, etc., that they're not trained in nutrition or they're not trained in any kind of lifestyle intervention techniques or practices. So it's often.
Can I just add something though?
Yeah.
I have seen people say, I don't know if you want to add this in, but I have seen people, when you're saying about people, what do you think of people going outside of the box and looking for these tests? I have seen some people say, oh, these are GojiMan's tests, but they're not. I was actually sent to have this test done. Doctors do send people off to consultants to have it done. The only problem is, it's very difficult to get a doctor to recognize that it's not just IBS and that it's something else. It's very, very difficult to get them to refer you to go get these tests. And once they do refer you, it takes forever and a day. Even when I got to my consultant and suggested that I think that I might have SIBO and yeast overgrowth, he literally just laughed me out of the office. And that's why I didn't go back. And that's why I decided to come to you and get these tests. So I just almost wanted to just clear that up. Like, these tests are available on the NHS. It's just very difficult to get them.
Yeah, it's a conversation I have with a lot of people. So a lot of the different tests that I use are bolted together NHS tests. So things like, IBD testing such as lactoferrin, calprotectin, lysozymes and stuff like that. Doctors typically use in isolated cases, but some of these tests just pull all of that together and just do a very good snapshot of what's going on in your body at any one time. So yeah, they're effective. They've got the pros and cons like any different form of testing, but for a lot of people, they can just help give some answers and, point them in the right direction to get things moving in the right direction again. So
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much, mate.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. Final question for you then. Any advice for anyone suffering with similar kind of issues as you before? So gas, bloating, digestive problems on a vegan diet, brain fog, any of these type of issues that we've typically seen with ex-vegans over the last sort of 12 months or so?
Any advice? I think first and foremost, gone.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, obviously, first and foremost, they need to be having that conversation with the doctor. That's the first port of call. So you go to your doctor, and if your doctor's on side and they're born this side of kind of 1965, then you're probably going to get some traction there.
Right.
Beyond that,
I personally have not had good experiences with doctors, but yeah, if you go to your doctor, try. I just from what I've seen in pharmacy and the whole medical world, they're just not trained in any of that. They're experts in, like I said, all of these major killer diseases that they have to deal with day in, day out. As soon as you present them with something a bit different, like, I don't know if you can put this up, IBS, they kind of don't, because it's to do with nutrition and they don't get taught anything about nutrition. But yeah, go to your doctor. Try with your doctor. But if you, you're just offering the same test if the doctor does refer, but if you want them done quicker and just get the answers straight away, I think this is really important, because I had an idea of what was going on, but this really pinned down everything down to the last detail, what was happening in my body. Knowledge is power. What can you do without the knowledge? You can't do anything. So you're kind of just like walking around in the dark.
Yeah,
get the test done. That's honestly what I would do. I just didn't know where to start or what test to get done. That's why it took me so long. It was your videos that kind of broke it down for me.
Cool.
I don't even know if that answers the question. I think I've been rambling a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, I think just going back to the doctor sort of side of it, it's I would always say that, particularly if you've got significant digestive problems, because you just want to rule out if there's anything untoward going on. So
right, okay.
If you've been dealing with this for a while and you know those warning flag symptoms, blood in your stool, things like that, then absolutely be going to your doctor.
Okay. I agree.
If you're then going backwards and forwards for a period of time, you're seeing consultant after doctor after consultant after doctor. At that point, if you're not getting any kind of joy behind it, then that's when I would start looking outside of that kind of medical paradigm. I
agree 100%. Yeah, I guess my advice is coming from that standpoint, that I was just getting shoved from pillar to post. I think one consultant even said that to me. He said, you're just literally getting shoved from pillar to post. So yeah, that's my advice, is what you just said and everything you just said.
Cool. Look, it's really cool to speak to you again. Obviously, we're going to have additional conversations over the next few weeks to try and resolve some of those lingering issues and see what we can resolve there. But yeah, really good speaking. Thanks for coming on, and we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, cheers. Sorry if I rambled, mate.
No, all good, all good.
All right, see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.